check out who's there. I see Avish is joining us. Okay. And since Avish is on the line, we get to highlightspeakingexpert.com first. Welcome.
Thank you.
And oh, by the way, just as an aside, Kyle went to his first theater thing, and they did a lot of improv exercises, and apparently it was phenomenal.
Ah, very cool.
Yeah. Okay, so it's 1 o'clock, and other people should be filtering in shortly. But just wanted to welcome everybody, and I'm going to put up my little quick welcome screen here so I know we're starting. So we are starting now, and that's my little indicator that we're starting, so I'll move that off here. Okay, so first thing, Avish, you had a chance to take a look at the publishingabook.com, you told me. And
I did, yeah.
so I think that Stanley, who's on the line, as well as Bill, did a lot of work to get that going, and I think they did a really good job.
Yeah, it's a good looking site. One question I had about it was where does the blog fit in?
Good question. I think that now, if it's publishingabook.com/blog, and let me just check, I haven't tried this. But yeah, so in other words, we're trying to get people, but let's say we click out of this. Let me just see what happens. I think it forces us to. No, there's an error there, so I guess we can check on that, Stanley, because there's something going on. I don't know what's happening there, but yeah, I think it'd be nice if people could get to the blog. So I would put it at publishingabook.com/blog, and I think that maybe we're making it so that people have to opt in. But again, good question, and I would put it at that location because right now we're getting an error message on that. Oh no, here it is. Nope, there was a temporary error message here. So now it's coming up. So the blog side of it. So you take a look at the screen there, Avish.
Yep.
So publishingabook.com/blog. So that does have the other part of it, and then publishingabook.com is taking them just to that main page there.
Okay, so your main kind of homepage URL is the sales ladder, but then you have a blog and a subdirectory under it.
Correct. Yes, and the idea there that we're going to use the elements of the blog to attract the SEO, but we're primarily trying to get people to get into the coaching program. So there you have it. And so I think that we could do something similar here as well. It's just a matter of where we're positioning stuff, etc. But I think that the publishing a book site does a pretty good job. One of the things that I think that as I was going through it, whoops, I didn't mean to do that.
Would you like to have your book written and published in the next 12 months?
Let's see here if I can move this. Whoops, nope, that's not going to help. But what happened was that and it's not allowing me to scroll down. It's interesting. Anyway, so you come to this page, obviously, and then there are some other things that you can do when you get. There's only one thing you can do here. If we click on the, getting a book published, this isn't in auto start mode, but we have this video here is I don't know how many minutes long, and everybody. So the whole idea is we're getting people to sort of click to apply. It's not a done deal that they can get in. We've sort of scattered some text in between, and for anybody who's not a protege watching this, what you should probably do is go to this page and click through and just see what we did here, and it allows us to integrate the text with the video to try and get people to do something. So that's what we're trying to do here. And so, and also, Vish, you and I should probably set up some times for recording some more of that product. Jeff, Jeff's not on quite yet. He can't hear me. Maybe he can. 1 second here. Yeah, I see that. Jeff is just on the line. Jeff works with Don Benton, and so he is on as well. And a couple other people here arriving as well, I see. Um, so I think that this is a good example of how to do this, and I think it's a good, it's a good sort of template, if you will, and that will allow us to have something that is relatively sort of standardized that we can all sort of cheat off of. And again, we'll be sort of reporting the results as they come in, and that will allow us. But I think the idea of combining and mixing the text with the video, and trying to get people. Question is, what do you want them to do? What's the primary thing you want them to do? So if we go back to Speaking Expert, in this case, we're trying to get them to sign up, to opt in. That's our primary goal. And so maybe in the case of the publishing a book site, the primary goal there is to try and get people to sign in and sign up to be to be coached on getting their book published, whether it be self or traditionally published. Whereas this right now at speakingexpert.com, we have this set up. And by the way, I think that this is looking a little bit sort of bland. I think we may need to add something over here, a picture of a microphone or something. It looks pretty, pretty bland compared to if we went to like Bill's site with the real voiceovertraining.com. And again, for, so at least here, we've got something. Oh, by the way, there's a good chance that Bill may have landed a gig as an announcer for some of those MMA events where he's like, get ready to rumble kind of stuff. So if he gets that, it's going to be great because we'll be able to
very cool.
parlay that into some stuff. And by the way, this is a really good, it's a good story. So anyway, to finish with this, you notice that Real Voiceover Training, Bill Deweese, his logo there and the microphone, I think that looks a lot better than just seeing this blank sort of Speaking Expert. This looks really bland and I think we need to sort of spice that up a little bit by adding something.
Yeah, we can look at putting a background over there.
Yeah, something that would make it.
Real quick, I'm getting chat messages from David Hamilton who can't find his GoToWebinar link. Is that something you can send out another one easily, or is that?
Actually, no. Here, if you give him this ID number, and I'll put it up here for you. It's I don't know if you can see here. Do you have it at the bottom of your screen, of your little screen there? It should say here. Let me just. I've got it as 412-396-209. So if he enters, tell him, just instant message him and tell him to do that. To enter that into, sort of go to webinar and then click join a meeting and put in that stuff.
396209.
Yeah.
All right. Let me let him know that.
Super duper. Thanks. And I
so
see.
Go to meeting you should go to?
Yeah, he goes to go to webinar or go to meeting, and it says join a meeting. And I see that Bill is on the line right now, so I can get him to tell you. Now, Bill, it's a good story. You can hear me, right? Bill Deweese? His microphone indicates he can, but he is not responding. My goodness, a voiceover person who is now a mute. This creates a problem. Well, he'll get his technical stuff fixed shortly. But in the meantime, and as soon as you can hear me and talk to me, Bill, let me know. So the story is, and I think it's a pretty good story to illustrate sort of how Bill's entire business model works. But he's not, as opposed to a lot of voiceover artists who, I won't speak for less than $500. Bill has adopted the other philosophy, which is I'll speak for anyone, anytime, anywhere. So with this most recent thing that he's in the running for, and again, let me just get rid of this so that I can just. This all started with him getting a lead off of Fiverr, and so at Fiverr.com he was doing 30 seconds of voice work or something like that for $5. And so what happened was a client, booked him off of Fiverr, and then they proceeded to get together and he's now in the running to do something that'll be worth thousands of dollars. So it just goes back to the whole idea of the funnel system, which is a lot of times, people will enter your funnel at whatever price point that they're comfortable with. Now, it's true that it's always nice when you can sell the 10K package, but there are people, obviously, out of 100 people, maybe one or two are going to be eligible for that. Whereas if you went down and provided them with the $47 package, then all of a sudden you may have 35 people that are interested. So it's all about, offering people different things at different prices. And in Bill's case, this was a $5 initial product offering through Fiverr that ended up getting him the ability to maybe land a very lucrative deal. And Bill, can you hear me yet? I guess not. So I'm going to put in there, Bill, you can't hear me. Try and get that fixed now. See if you will. Okay, so the point is that at Fiverr.com, and by the way, for anybody who doesn't know Fiverr.com, it's a site where everything, you can buy anything for $5. So it's www.fiverr.com. And let's just look up Bill's listing to see what he did. And so let's put in here Bill DeWeese and see what comes up. Because I haven't seen this yet. So nothing. So let me just put in voice over. Okay, I see Dave Hamilton getting online. Dave, are you there? Not yet. Okay, so now, yeah, let's see here. I don't know where he is within this, but anyway, let me just put in just Deweese and see, or Deweese, see what comes up. Nope, he would have to tell us. So actually, Bill, if you can see what I'm doing, if you want to put it in the chat window, that'd be great. So you can sort of help us figure out what exactly you're doing. But the point is,
hey Fred, real quick, I got a chat from Dave. He's in now, but he's in listen only mode.
Yeah, Dave, I don't think we have him in. I don't know whether or not he's set up for being able to. Yeah, because he hasn't been on for a while, so I think we adjusted some of the settings. So just tell him that for this one,
But he can hear
you. Yeah, good. That's good. Okay, so in the case of, and again, I guess Bill DeWeese can't hear me, or if he can, he can't respond. But if he sends me something via the chat window, that would be great because then I can know he's there, actually there. And so let me just say, Bill, are you there? And let's see here. Can you see that message coming across, Avish? In the chat window?
Oh yeah, Bill, are you there?
Yeah. Yeah, good. Okay, well, the point here is it's really not a complicated point. I just wanted Bill to tell the story. So the whole idea is that, people will enter your funnel at whatever price point they are comfortable with. And obviously, we'd prefer to be selling people, $10,000 and $25,000 packages. But there are people, and frankly, the people that are coming in at that level are going to be a lot less difficult to deal with than the people who come in with at the lower level. So it's actually the people who pay you more are generally less difficult to deal with. I just got like my first return in probably, I don't know, 9 or 10 months from somebody who bought a $20 product. It's just it's just like, and he was making up some excuse for whatever. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I don't really care. Here's your $20 back. But the whole point is that Fiverr provides people with a great place. And actually, Burke, who's on the line now, Burke, what I was telling the story, you weren't on to catch it, is that Bill DeWeese, famous voiceover artist and future voice of mixed martial arts live here in Vegas, perhaps was able to get a lead from somebody who did it. He did a job on Fiverr, and that person, it now may end up, making him a whole bunch of money, in which case it will become a great story. So the point is, we want to be able to offer the 10K option, but we also want to be able to offer the under, $100 as well also. So we want to have price points that anybody will feel comfortable. I think that, many people now are saying, well, why go after this piddly little stuff? Well, I just think that I don't think it's a bad idea to be offering both. Now, in the case of what we did at publishingabook.com, this is sort of how this works. And if you go to publishingabook.com, we are really promoting a high-end coaching program of $297 a month. But when you get down into it, and I'm definitely interested here, see this, and then what happens is we put a bunch of videos in between there, but at the very end, we show people what they're going to get, free access to all these products. Now, we're going to also probably, and Stanley, you may want to know about this in advance, that we're going to have a page in which all of our products are listed. And in fact, maybe a couple places here, we may want to put someplace on this list, click here to just buy some of these products. And then that'll take us to the product page. And if we go to the product page will be broken down by, so at the product page, so you're going to have products, and we talked about this last time, I think. So the product page, which will have categories, and then underneath each of the categories, it'll have individual elements. And that's what's going to happen here. So somebody who's looking through all the freebies that you get will be able to go to the product page, and they'll go, holy crap, well, by the time I buy 3 or 4 of these, I'm better off to just get into the coaching program, perhaps. Because what we're trying to do is, the coaching program is $297 per month, but there's a 3-month commitment. So 3-month minimum commitment. And this is working. Bill is doing it for some of his other stuff, and it seems to be working well. So what we're doing is, and again, I think that Jeff, who's on the call for Don Benton, what you need to be doing is you need to be looking at what's going on at all these other different protege sites. And by joining, the Facebook group, you were able to see sort of who's involved. But there are, a number of the sites. And Burke, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. And Burke has got, and by the way, I've got people wanting to buy the publicity program. How far away are we?
It's done. So
okay,
we just have to get it up and online. I can manually send it out.
Yeah, well, we want to go ahead and have it. The problem is that, do we have a sales page for that yet?
No.
Okay, so we really can't promote it until we do something similar to what's happening here. And so, Burke,
Right.
What I want you to do is study this particular site and these, first off. So what we're probably going to do is at publicityseminar.com / new product, or whatever we're going to call it, it's going to have something that looks like this, which is going to have a headline. It should have some videos, and again, these can be from you directly, Burke. And then
Okay.
There's some text and maybe some PowerPoint or Keynote, now that you're a Mac person. And down at the end, so then it's a matter of what do you get, what does it cost? In our case, it's not going to be for publicity. It's not going to be a you have to apply kind of a thing. So you
Right.
can buy the program. The other thing that I would recommend that you do, Burke, is to and in Burke's case, what's the end game for publicity.com, publicityseminar.com? He's going to have a product, and then sort of the main product, and then they're going to be you can buy it in pieces. But what I would suggest is that anyone who buys anything gets that dollar amount in credit towards using your high-end publicity services. So what happens is somebody gets on board and buys, let's say the product, let's say they buy it for, we may change these numbers, but it's $297.
Right.
So if someone buys that and then says, you know what, I want to get on your a la carte training, and you normally charge them, you know, whatever the amount is for to get booked on Fox or whatever, and let's say that's it's $400. Well, then maybe they only have to pay you $100 for that first placement because they've already paid $297. Now that would be the idea that you were using the product really to get them in to then become a buyer for all these other services that you will book people and get them on in front of the media. I mean,
That's good.
yeah, we could do that. I'm not suggesting you have to do that, but that could be one way to do it. But the way in which we're going to sell it and everything, I think this site does a pretty good job, which is a combination of text and video, trying to show people. And by the way, in the videos, it's not just a sales video. In fact, you're going to give people, in these videos. And again, for Jeff, this is what Don is going to have to do. He's going to have to create some videos which basically show people in these videos you do give content, but at the end they, meaning the people that went through it, still need more. That's the whole point, is that there's going to be some good content, but after they see the content, because if everything you did in the videos was pure pitch, people, it wouldn't work, because people want to see that you actually deliver on some of that content. So you're going to give them some of the content, and then you're going to pitch them as well. So it's a matter of showing them and convincing them that you are in fact the expert in your field. And whether it's Don Benton as it relates to getting elected, or Burke Allen as it relates to getting media exposure, or Bill DeWeese as it relates to voiceover work. And I'm still wondering, Bill, do you have a mic working yet? The voiceover guy with no voice. You gotta love that. Muted by the system. In a terrible twist of fate, Bill DeWeese, silent. And so I'm sure he can hear me. I get the feeling he can hear me. He just can't speak. But again, we have a lot of different things here, and the nice thing is as we go through and get further along with every protege, there's going to be a lot of learning. And by the way, I don't know if everybody saw it, but I think one, maybe two people already have booked their trip for April. I think April 1st is a Friday, correct? Do I have that right? Anybody check the calendar there?
Yeah, it's yep.
So it's the 1st through the 3rd is the meeting here. If anyone can make it, in Vegas, all proteges invited. Anybody who wants to come. This is just going to be a big mastermind kind of group. Not a whole lot of formal stuff. And again, this would be great if you could make it. So just trying to do it over the weekend, and we're just going to be exchanging. And I will be broadcasting it live for those of you who can't make it, so that you can see that. We'll also record it also, which will be a good thing. Avish, any questions?
Not yet. I had a couple questions I had emailed you about the Bill Dewey, not the Bill Dewey's, Bill O'Hanlon's site.
Yeah, let's talk about that. What do you need? What were the questions? I forget. Remind me.
Well, one is, so we're gonna do something similar with Speaking Expert.
Yep.
So one was a question of focus. Is for that kind of ongoing coaching type program, group coaching, is it going to be? Should we do just presentation skills, just business, or a combination of both?
Well, I think
the site kind of caters to both.
I think that we should have two groups, two different groups. Wow, somebody made a noise there. Who was that? Bill DeWeese, perhaps? No, not a chance.
No, that was an email chiming in on my end. Sorry, guys.
No problem. So the two things. So Avish's question is, we're obviously in speakingexpert.com. We are concentrating on two things. Number one is speaking skills, and then speaking as a business. So the question is, I think we should have two separate groups. Two groups, one for skills and one for business. Now, people can be.
Do you think we should start with one or run both simultaneously?
I think we should run both simultaneously, but the idea is some people, we're going to give them a discount. So discount for joining both. Yeah, because there are two really distinct parts to what we're doing there. So let's create that. But also, now have you gotten Avish on this site? Do we have anything up under products yet?
Just the stuff we've already done. You can take a look there.
Okay. So we've got now. What about the product that we put together via Skype or GChat?
Yeah, that's on the short list of things. I gotta review it, make sure it looks good, get a little music, and then load it into the shopping cart.
Okay, sounds good. But on this page, we should have a list. So now we're on the product page in any group. So on the product page, specifically here on SpeakingExpert.com, on the product page, you're going to have, again, your categories, your major categories, and then your subcategories. And so, again, we've got a total of, how many do we have of each of the major categories?
In terms of,
I think what like 8 or so chapters of the book.
Oh yeah, we're basing off the book. I think we said there was 8 we were going to do.
Okay, so 8 total. So let's say we have 8 total, and let's say we have approximately 10 under each. Now some of those are going to be really inexpensive, but we're going to group them, and people are going to be able to buy them in sets. But one of the things that Avish is doing is to be taking whatever we've done. So each product has a snippet, sort of sampler, if you will. And Jeff Van Sloten, who is Don Benton's brother, Jeff, this is what has got to happen there as well. We got to create little snippets from each of the sections, if you will, to put in there so that if somebody sees the product, they can see the whole product, then they can see pieces of the product, and they can actually click on something and they can see or get a listen to anywhere from 45 to 60 seconds of some of the stuff, and you go, wow, that's really good, I really need that. So that's where we're going to want to start with that. So we're going to have, in all these cases, there's going to be, buy the whole thing or buy it in pieces, and the buying it in pieces is going to make it so the people who aren't yet comfortable wanting to spend a whole lot of money will be able to enter. And then again, if someone buys, and I'm perfectly okay with this as a rule, when people contact me and they say, I bought 2 of your products for a total of, let's say, $150, 150. Will you give me credit towards buying X, whatever X is? Now, I will give them credit towards buying X if X is sufficiently large in terms of the price point. So I'm not going to give somebody $150 credit to buy a $200 product. But if somebody wants to buy maybe a $500 product, I'll think about it, and at $1,000, I will definitely do it. So I think that's, definitely do it, and this one is maybe do it. So I think that when people approach you, again, getting them, the one universal, though, is this, which I talked about earlier, which is people who spend more are less of a pain in the ass. Inevitably. However, many people either aren't in a position to afford the more, or the other option is they're not in a position to afford it, or they're not yet convinced that you know what the heck you're doing. So that's why we're providing people with products, at all price points. But I mean, the nice thing is when you have something at a really high price point, somebody who comes in, and for Bill DeWeese, still silent, at 10K, you can go hang out with him for 3 days, see what he does, 3 days hanging out, seeing what a voiceover, what a VO artist does, as well as getting your demo done. So that's, it's a really good value. But again, he's going to have, and we will have at that site, other products that are much less costly than 10 grand. But inevitably, it's like I said with my, the one person who spent the $20. Also, one of the things that we did, and let me just jump around. Like I said, the person spent $20. they were more difficult than the people that paid a lot more money. Burke, I got a question for you. Tell people a little bit about what you did to put the product together. So let's go to, we don't have that up yet, but so in Burke's publicity product, his, I don't know, we're calling it mega whatever. Tell people what you did. We chopped this into 4 sections. Those were print, online, TV,
And radio.
And radio. And so tell people what you did in terms of interviews towards right before the end of the year.
Well, what I did is I got in touch with people in all 4 of those disciplines that are sort of industry experts, and I interviewed them and asked them, specifically how they like to be pitched, what are the most successful pitches, sort of, the people that have the keys to the kingdom, how to generate publicity in each of those 4 disciplines. And cobbled those together, did a real quick little edit, and then we have those as part of the product now, along with me spilling my guts being interviewed by you.
So now, and we had a total of how many? Like 8 or 10?
Yeah, I think it was 8.
So 8 total. Now, I think that this model works extremely well for everyone. So in the case of Bill O'Hanlon, Bill O, I'll call him, interviewing agents, editors, etc. So we got all different kinds of people that, and the beauty of this is when you put together the big product, the buy it all kind of product. So Avish, in our case, this would be great for us to interview someone like, in Avish's case for speaking expert. Now we've got this guy Jeff Bigelow that we got to know a little bit, he's a rep for Speakers Bureau, Speak Inc. So Jeff would be a perfect person for us to interview. And also we'd want to interview some other folks. So if we're putting together some kind of the big, kahuna, the big enchilada package, interviews, from others in the field that would be relevant to those who want to buy, because I think it increases value dramatically. And so, Burke, you had a total of 8 of those interviews. And how long did they go? Maybe anywhere from 10 to 30 minutes?
20 minutes to a half an hour.
Yeah, so 20 to 30 minutes. So if you think about it, you've got to, it's a really, when we start, I want you, when you put together the copy for that, if you could just list the name of the person, who they are, what they do, and then pull out, 3 or 4, maybe as many as 5 bullet points, so that when we get down into the product itself, and pitching it, one of the things that we're going to tout is the fact that you not only hear theory, but you hear actual, people in the field giving you responses.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that makes perfect sense.
And everyone should be doing that, whether it's, Avish or Bill or, Jeff, you with Don, all of those folks should be doing it. I see that someone else is arriving. This might be Bill O'Hanlon himself. Let's see. If so, let me just, no, that's Avish back on the line there. Okay, so we've got any, and again, Dave, if you've got some kind of comment there, you can't really make it. So now my screen is saying 5 attendees are unmuted, which may cause problems. So just make sure that if you're unmuted that you've got it under control there, whatever's happening. So we've got some things here. Now, so Burke, your assignment would be, if you would, to sort of take a look at what Bill O'Hanlon has done. And to sort of, you don't have to write this copy. I can do a lot of that. But you can just sort of scribble it down as best you can, and then I'll massage it from there.
Do you have any of that in because I'm not sure I have the OCR software loaded in yet. Do you have any of that in a document that can be manipulated that you can email over?
A document that is what?
Oh, I don't know, a notepad or Word or something.
I still don't understand what you're asking.
You know what? I could pull it right off the website. I bet I could do that.
What are you asking?
The publishingabook.com copy.
Oh,
the way it's laid out. I'd like to grab that and just manipulate it.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be, now that is promoting, that's not promoting a product as much as promoting, I think that your best bet for using sort of what you're looking for, I guess, as a template, is
Yep.
the best template for
Just to
that.
speed up the process.
I think the Fred Info Bootcamp.com gives you all the components that you'd want in putting together that product pitch. Now
Okay.
remember, that's going to be your words or your verbiage, but you also want to have your video in which you, and by the way, the video can be not just you direct to camera, but also, you with a keynote or PowerPoint presentation, walking people through it. And again, I look at the publishingabook.com as your sample.
Okay, got it.
Bill DeWeese, are you available yet for comment? Bill DeWeese, still muted as a voiceover artist. It's a funny thing. Yeah, and if you've got a lot of ringing or something going on, Burke, I don't know if that's your phone. You may want to sometimes mute when you're not talking there, so just so it doesn't get a little too hairy. So the thing that Bill has done here, Bill revised his, but if you see it, the site now is looking pretty well populated. He's got a lot of articles in there, and this is a good looking site now because it's all filled in. So he's got various things that he's doing. So I'm clicking on one of them in terms of the latest articles. This is going to take us to the blog. This is going to give us the post. In this case, he actually put up, oh, nice, like a fireside chat. Look at that. In freezing Chicagoland. So here he has, let's just see this, give you an idea. See what happens.
Hi, this is Bill DeWeese, and good to have you here this afternoon. I don't know if the video camera is picking this up or not, but you may notice my hair is a bit wet right now. My cheeks are a little rosy, and the reason for that is because I just came in from shoveling snow off of my driveway for the third time today, and it continues to snow even now. So when you move to the Chicagoland area, that's pretty much what you can expect.
So anyway, go through that and see what Bill's done, because what I told him to do, which he's doing, is to create blog posts and to mix them up. Not all blog posts. And by the way, what I did on my site recently here is I've also, let me just add that and show you, my most recent, I don't know if you didn't read or, listen to this one yet, you may want to do it. I interviewed this guy named Dan Balsam on the issue of spam, and because he's got the site called Dan Hates Spam, and this is Dan's, this is my interview with him. So when you go here, what I did was, and this is sort of a good thing to do, put a paragraph or so about what it is and who the person is, so you get some of the keywords in there. And so in here, you see that I've got a little bit of that, and then there's the click to listen. Although this should, Stanley, I think we should probably have something that makes it look much more like some kind of a player. Because people may not know.
Welcome, folks. Fred Gleeck here, and my guest today is Dan Balsam. Dan, thank you for being.
Okay, so that's Dan Balsam, my interview with him, audio. So the point here is that in blog posts don't just have to be print and words. They can also be audios as well as videos. So feel free to mix those up. I think it actually makes for a lot more interesting site when you have both. And Avish, you in particular, if we're dealing with the speaking business, again, we're a very visual group, and that would probably be something we want to do. So mixing it up that way as well. I'm waiting to see if, let's see, who else? Dave Hamilton, if you have any comments, feel free to throw them in the chat window, since you've been, for some reason, inexplicable reason, you have been shut out of actually doing this.
Hey, Fred, well, I've got a question real quick.
Sure.
As you know, I have a new computer, and I need to reload in. What is the free traffic software stuff, the crawl at the top of your screen as we look at fredgleeck.com? What is that website again, so I can re-download that?
Got it. Now, by the way, this thing becomes a pain in the neck. It's now available. What you're talking about is this that I'm just getting rid of right there, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's SEO Quake. and you go to SEOquake.com. Let me just show you that here. So you go to SEOquake. It's a downloadable plugin for Firefox, and not only for Firefox, it's also now available for Safari. You can see here,
Okay.
and for Google Chrome. I see. So it's available for all the main browsers. Now, the only problem with it is it gets to be sort of a pain in the neck, because whenever you're looking at a site, you always have to click over this thing to make it go away. So it's a little bit of a pain in the neck, yet I wish they would have an option to only, to move it or to list it differently or whatever, to have it available when you want it, which is a suggestion I would give them, because it sometimes takes up the space. But yeah, SEOquake.com. Also, Burke, just given my experience with Bill DeWeese here and what happened to him on Fiverr, let's just put in publicity here and see what happens. I will write 50 sentences, or you get blah blah. I will write a basic press release for $5. There's probably something you could do. Like you could offer, and let's see how we word, just something like mini media coaching session for $5.
Right.
And the point here is, we're not trying to really make any money here. We're trying to get in front of potential clients. And we know that some people that are only spending $5 on something end up spending thousands of dollars. And Bill DeWeese is the textbook example of how that can happen. So again, Burke for you, Avish for us, something very important to consider, because again, it's, and I don't know what, I guess if we looked at Alexa, we could figure out, let's just see what the traffic is for, the traffic is at Fiverr. Let me just see here. Okay, so site tool. Let me just see here. Okay, no, it's not it. Keywords are search. I think these, I don't know where we do the, put in the domain name. Can somebody help me here? Do you know where I go to find out what kind of traffic someone is getting? You know what we can do? I can go to a Cool Spy tool. Cool Spy tool.
I think it is under site info.
Is it under site info?
I believe.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So
Checking
let's
it
go.
right now myself.
So let's go to
Traffic ranks 506. That's
Fiverr ranks 506 in the world.
yeah, and 251 in the U.S. though.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So we're talking about a huge amount of traffic. So the point here is, and we're talking about traffic, so that means, my old line is find traffic and then jump in front of it. So Fiverr, great, because it's basically what we call self-liquidating, which is, you're going to be able to sort of get paid to get traffic. And so Fiverr.com, if you're not doing anything, Amazon.com, and again, all of us are going to be doing this, eBay.com, all of these places, we're going to want to have something of ours in terms of our JV stuff available at these various places that have tons of traffic. Now, Amazon and eBay are, if we put those in here, they're, I'm sure, way ahead of. So if we look at, if it's eBay, I'm sure that's going to come out as, probably number 4, 3, or whatever, who knows these days what it is. So site traffic in the US is 7. So, and then if we go to Amazon, what's going to be interesting here, and I wish that so Amazon's 5th, and I wish that Bill DeWeese wasn't a mute today, because our favorite site, Quibids, let's just see how much traffic Quibids is getting. It's ranking 645 in the U.S. Not bad. I mean, still Fiverr's ahead of it, but Quibids is up there. And again, this is a good site to go play around on to see, how much traffic something gets. I'm not going to embarrass myself by putting Fred Gleeck in there, or maybe I should. Let's see. 8,000, 8 million. Not too bad. It's claiming. So there you have it. Let's see here. And you can take a look at what the keywords are I'm trying to get here, etc., etc. And there you have it. Any questions? Nobody has questions. You're kidding me.
Nope.
Have to have questions. So finding traffic again. So what does that mean in terms of our efforts here? We should be figuring out what are we going to put on eBay, Amazon, Fiverr, etc. So again, because we're trying to get people, we're trying to go where the traffic already exists and seeing what's going on. Let's see here. Anything else? I kind of wish we could get Bill DeWeese to actually be a non-mute. So anyway, he put this together. I was going to ask him a couple questions about how that happened. I can tell the story, but I won't tell it nearly as well as he would. But basically, so this is him doing his blog post. Was the single most important component of learning the voiceover business. Now, notice that in this blog post, it's primarily a video blog post, but in here, single most important component of learning voiceover business, best type of voiceover training. So he's included and voiceover skills. All three of those sets of keywords are very, very well targeted to what Bill wants to do. But let's just hear what else he says here. I'm curious.
This time of year. So if you're in a warmer environment right now, I apologize, but I thought for myself and for anybody else who might be dealing with snow and cold weather issues right now, staging this podcast by my fireplace in the living room would be a really good way to go. And by the way, that's just one of the many great benefits that comes with working at home, and that is you get to do
nice. So he's segueing his set into a real point for the voiceover business that you can work out of your home, et cetera, et cetera. So, that's good, makes a lot of sense. Now, going back for a second, if we could, to Burke. Burke, with publicity, and you can unmute yourself if you're muted. So with Publicity Seminar, we want to, and Publicity Seminar, that's going to be the site for this. There's a few things here. It's promoting the events. It's promoting his services. It's promoting the products, of which there's going to be the mega product and all the other ones. And again, all of those things. So it's the events, the products, the services. So at publicityseminar.com/products, and then maybe the big product is /mega publicity. I forget what we called it. Burke, is that what we called it, or we're thinking of?
I think it was Mega Publicity Primer.
Yeah, Mega Publicity Primer. So that again, we've got the ability. It's all going to be at publicityseminar.com, and then we'll move the blog over to publicityseminar.com/blog. But we're moving along. Everybody's getting some traction here, and things are going. So if what else do we need to talk about? I think for the next week, everybody should really be taking a look at, and also in order to launch this, let me just give you what Bill O'Hanlon, who couldn't be on the call, I don't think today, unless I'm wrong, or he would be chiming in. But at publishingabook.com, here's what our sort of here's sort of our process. So we're getting the sales letter with the videos up, and then we're going to do what we call a launch, and that launch is going to consist of sort of emails to the list and to all social media. And what we should probably do is we should all be promoting these things to everyone. At sort of all of you guys will help us to promote, whoever gets on board at whatever time. So in the next week, we're going to be promoting publishingabook.com, and we'll want your help in getting that out to your list. And then when we go to Burke's seminar, to Burke's products or to Avisha's products, we're all going to try and promote each other's stuff, so that we get that sort of benefit of multiple individuals, not just one or two people trying to promote it. Again, the size of the list not really as important as your relationship with those people on the list. So don't worry if your list isn't big. That's not the issue. The issue is making sure, and I know that there's one person, in fact, right now who's on the call, Burke, whose name is David DeJohn. And David is, why don't you actually look him up, Facebook friend him, and he wanted to buy the product right now. So the publicity
How does
product,
David spell his last name?
it's spelled Dejohn. So check him out, and that way, first name David. So that way you can, and friend him on Facebook and get in touch with him that way. I can forward you his information, but that's probably the easiest way.
Okay.
And again, they're people in all of these different markets. You're going to find there's going to be a lot of cross pollination. So that's what I would say is our next plan of attack. Oh, by the way, everybody in the group, there's somebody that I'm going to be meeting with over the phone. But before I meet with him over the phone, he's having a webinar today that I'm going to be on. So take a look when you get off this call at the Facebook page. I'm going to put up the details to that webinar that I'm going to be sitting in on. And I think it has a lot of benefits that could accrue to us. So I don't really know how good this is going to be, but I'm going to try it. I'm going to put that information up so everybody can see it. So look there. Any other questions? If not, I'm going to end the thing until next week. Any further things? Goodbye. Is that what we're saying here?
I'm good.
Okay, good. So take a look at the Facebook page.